What's happening, guys? This is James Blonde from MMOHut.com with a quick weekly recap for MMO news and announcements for the week ending June 10th, 2013. Now, there's a lot of MMO news and trailers the week before E3, so the first bit of news is that we've got plenty of games and developers to check out at this year's show. To get an idea of what sort of coverage to look out for, check out MMOHut's most anticipated free-to-play games at E3 2013 video showing off which titles we're exceptionally excited to cover, and feel free to leave us some feedback so we can work with you guys to show off just what you're looking for. But starting off with the regular news this week, Red 5 Studios marks this past weekend as the final public beta weekend test for FireFall, and it'll be the last event before its open beta starting on July 9th. The beta weekend featured 3 days of free access to the game, a special contest for high-end gaming gear, and a unique community unlock, the Infiltrator Night Vision goggles. Now, the announcement and movement towards open beta does, however, mean the end of FireFall's Founder Pack sales, but players will still have over a month or so to get exclusive rewards. Not to mention, they released a pretty cool new trailer debating over just how badass some of the new battle frames are. Last week, Elsword made some pretty drastic changes to itself in a hefty content update, introducing the free and open fields of battle where players can easily enter and exit to face enemies with other players. Now, of course, Elsword still has its instance-based dungeons and open-world hub towns, but it will now also include the new fields where players fight alongside other players, whether they're in a party or not. Plus, it'll let players engage in combat with more allies and enemies than ever before. 25 new and unique areas make up the fields of battle, with hundreds of new quests, treasures, and a shiny new UI to top it off. More news from Wargaming this week with the release of 2 new E3 teaser trailers, one for World of Tanks and the other for the upcoming title World of Warships, which will be featured at this year's E3 next week. Can't wait to check that out. Wargaming has a 10,000 square foot booth setup showing off World of Tanks, part in celebration of hitting the 60 million registered user milestone. That's actually really impressive. Good job, guys. Also, in case you're wondering, there isn't a lot of new content announced in the news the week before E3, just mainly trailers and hype. But as many of you may know, Marvel Heroes launched last week on the 4th. Not much news other than that, but the game will launch with 21 superheroes, numerous costumes, over 70 years of Marvel history, and the ability for players to switch between their heroes on the fly. Cool, now they just need to work on an expansion of the game called Marvel Villains, for those who want to rule the world, I guess. Either way, the game's intro trailer is pretty cool, and the game is now available to everyone. Also last week, Sony Online Entertainment released a really interesting trailer for Dragon's Prophet in the form of a heavy metal music video. This is definitely a unique take on showing players the game's storyline. It almost sounds like a Ronnie James Dio song. The Ballad of Dragod, as it's called, features music composed by Cinderella drummer Fred Corey. Now, that explains it. And guitarist Brent Woods. All in all, the trailer is designed to get players pumped for SOE's E3 spot next week. And speaking of dragons, earlier last week, several of the guys over at ArenaNet asked MMOHut to participate in an upcoming event in Guild Wars 2, the Dragon Bash. And at first we thought, well, MMOHut only covers free-play games, and then we remembered, well, we've covered Guild Wars 2 stuff in the past, so it probably won't hurt. Besides, if WildStar turns out not to be free-to-play, how many of you guys are going to be upset that we didn't cover it after keeping you informed this entire time? So, ArenaNet sent out 14 Dragon Pinatas to all the different media outlets to film themselves bashing it, and we figured we would take it a couple steps further and make it explode, FPS Russia style. Either way, feel free to check out the video. You'll hate it, or love it, or both. ArenaNet should be promoting all of the media outlets' videos sometime early this week. As for the event itself, it's a month-long celebration starting tomorrow, packed with all new activities, fireworks, exclusive rewards, and of course, Dragon Pinatas. But I'm pretty sure theirs don't explode. Hi-Rez Studios released Athena, Goddess of Wisdom, for Smite last week, and it's about time we see a new magical melee tank join the arena. Athena's passive is pretty unique. After using any ability, Athena's next basic attack is a ranged attack, hitting all enemies it passes through and dealing additional magic damage. Her first attack is pretty OP. Athena powers up for a dash. While dashing, Athena will pass through minions and stop and hit the first enemy god she encounters, dealing damage and slowing all she hits. If she hits an enemy, Athena gains 1 stack of block, which is used to absorb the next basic attack coming from any god that hits her. Her ulti utilizes the third-person aspect of the game nicely. She picks a single allied god anywhere in the world and launches herself up into the air, landing next to that god, dealing damage to the enemies around that god, protecting her close allies during the flight time. Not bad. Not bad. More news from Sony Online Entertainment last week as they announced that DC Universe Online and PlanetSide 2 will be headed to the PlayStation 4. According to the Senior Vice President of Global Sales and Marketing for SOE, players have been asking for PlanetSide 2 to be available on consoles, just like DC Universe is currently available for the PS3. And the PS4 is an ideal platform to handle this chaotic open-world combat that PlanetSide 2 deals out. The cool thing is, hopefully games like this will inspire more and more developers to create free-to-play games for the next-gen consoles. Anyways, guys, there's a bit more news over the past week, but I've got a plane to E3 to catch, so I've got to cut it short this time. I'll put links in the description below for more news, and trust me, there'll be plenty of news to give when I get back from E3. Meanwhile, if you're looking for more information about the news featured here, check the description first, then head over to MMOHut.com/news. Feel free to discuss the news in the comments below, or head over to MMOHut.com/forums. Until next time, guys, that's going to be it for me. I'm James Blonde. See you out there, gamers.